What is up, YouTube? I'm Devon DaVinci, leader of the Renaissance Crew, and you're watching DaVinci Reacts. Today I have a very special reaction. This is a reaction to a video game series that has been very good on my channel. I think my Half-Life and Half-Life 2 playthroughs are probably my most popular Let's Plays that I've done on my channel. I haven't had a chance to actually look at the numbers, but I remember when I was doing them, they were getting a lot of attention. It's for my channel, like the standards for that my channel have. They got a lot of attention. And I remember when I got my Oculus Quest, which I got around January, one of the games that were coming out that people were talking about was Half-Life Alyx. Now, I shouldn't have to explain to you guys what virtual reality is. You guys know. I'm curious to see what this game has, because I've been a big fan of virtual reality games, and the Oculus Quest was just one of the things that helped propel me into that field, because I didn't want something that was going to be anchored to a computer. And the good thing about Oculus Quest is that it's pretty much a hands-free device, so you don't have to have it plugged in anything. You can just put the headset on and just be on your way. One thing about virtual reality that I am rather critical of, and I tend to critique a lot, is too many games for virtual reality tend to be focused on like mini game style of games. Like, I want full on games. Like, Skyrim has a VR version. I haven't had a chance to play it, so I don't know if it's exactly like the regular Skyrim game or not. But if it is, I mean, I plan on getting it one day. But if it is like the regular Skyrim game, let me know about it, because I want to find actual games. That's what VR is missing. That killer app that it needs is something that's full on. So I don't know if this game is going to be like mini games, like challenge modes where you just fight wave after wave of enemy and that's pretty much the game, or if it's an actual story mode with actual development, like gameplay. I've been a big fan of the Vader Immortal game. I played it a lot. I played the challenge mode a lot, or the Jedi Dojo, lightsaber dojo, whatever it's called. And I've unlocked almost all the lightsabers at this point. I wish that there was a game like that that had the full-on story mode to it, because I know that the Vader Immortal has a story mode, but that story mode, it's very on rails and handheld. Like, you have very few moments where you're actually using a lightsaber, and even then it's like you don't get your force powers until like the third version of the game. I wish that like there was a RPG elements where you can get stronger and spin resources into your force powers so you can get even better. Then you can unlock different force powers like force lightning and force speed and force pull and push and mind trick, like things like that. And then you just go through the game like a Skyrim game, but you're unlocking things that make you better at like using the force and becoming a stronger Jedi and things like that. That's what I want. So I'm gonna look at this, see what it has to offer. This is Half-Life Alexis, or Alexis. Oh, all right, she didn't say anything. This is Half-Life Alyx. This is 13 minutes of Valve commentary. Let's see what this has to offer. Let's go. Now, as you can see, this video is uploaded by IGN.
Hey,
go check their channel out. I have a link at the end of this video that you can click on.
We're going to be walking through some early gameplay from Half-Life Alyx. Guys, set us up. What's going on in this scene, and kind of where are we in the game?
This is really early on in the game. This is sort of an area we consider essentially the intro to combat. You know, one of the things we realized is that we have to teach people how to do such rudimentary things as reloading and everything in VR, since they don't bring that with them. And in Half-Life Alyx, reloading is very much a physical activity.
Okay. I think that the reloading on this game, based on the fact that he just grabbed a clip, I believe, is going to be similar to other shooting games on VR where you have to actually take is it a magazine or a clip? I believe for a handgun it's called a clip, right? I'm trying to get very technical. So you take the clip out, put the other clip in, you charge the chamber, and there you go.
So we need to get you to learn a physical. We want to get you to have a muscle memory around that reloading.
Oh boy!
And the way to do that is to get you to shoot and reload a bunch of times. So at this point,
remember
we're
those.
using a lot of enemies that are not super threatening to you, but give you that opportunity to play with your reloading and all that sort of stuff. So things like barnacles, zombies, and so on.
Recognizable enemies from Half-Life
Definitely.
as well.
Yep. And one of the big challenges in this area that we ran into was that we're trying to make sure Half-Life Alyx is a VR game that everyone can get aboard.
The funny thing is, because the little like motion icon is yellow, every time the person's about to move, it looks like they're peeing. It's just something I found funny. I'm immature.
I want you to feel comfortable getting into it. But of course, Half-Life is a game that has that sort of horror in its DNA that we need to maintain. And so we're very cognizant
so you don't actually charge the chamber.
risks of scaring people off too soon. And so one of the things we've tried to do in this whole section is be extremely fair to the player. There
Can you break
are
it?
essentially no
Yes,
enemies that will jump out at you. We introduce enemies at a good distance.
I wonder if you could break it and like use the broken part as a weapon to stab with. I think they had something similar to that to the Walking Dead Sins and Sinners, I think it's called.
The first set of enemies, if you pay close attention to, especially in the sections coming up, they look threatening and they look like you're at high risk, but you actually have a good amount of time to deal with them. In some cases, you have as much time as you need, and we found through playtesting that we really needed that for the players who are really fumbling with their,
you don't actually climb. That's interesting.
Reloading done in the time they have.
Yeah, there's already, we're seeing a bunch from the new gravity gloves, obviously, and there's sort of a muscle memory you got to pick up. We saw him, pulling these ammo clips to him and then throwing them over his shoulder to store them. Right now, throwing the explosive barrels towards the barnacles. That's kind of a classic Half-Life move as well. Is this? I imagine this section is kind of explicitly to teach you about this, right? This mechanic of letting barnacles kill themselves.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, this whole section is just about you objects, you interacting with the enemy, and getting you to just sort of practice at this point. Switching weapons, going from your gun, going to your hand, throwing objects.
I never really considered Half-Life to be a scary game.
Players make mistakes sometimes. You put the clip in, you fire the
certain
gun,
parts
you
are
run out of
spooky,
ammo,
but
something's dry. Where's my ammo?
VR is going to make this game a hell of a lot more scary. That's for sure.
Hitting the R button.
Right. We got our first zombie now, climbing through the window as well. But like you said, this is still a section that is sort of easing you into the waters, right? Because only one of those zombies was really kind of coming at you like that.
Yeah, he does a nice slow animation. He's yelling at you to try and get your attention.
I wonder why the game's called Half-Life Alyx. I'm wondering if you're playing with Alyx, because if that were the case, I wish he would like talk more. I mean, I don't know how old the actor who did Alyx in the original like Half-Life 2 was, but I would like to hear her voice more. I haven't heard anything so far, so I don't know who I'm playing with. Like, it makes me think you're playing with Gordon again, but if that was the case, why would it be called Half-Life Alyx? Unless she's like a huge part of the game.
He's going to move slowly down. He's completely constrained.
Like you're going to rescue her or something?
Before he gets to you. And this, it might sound like we've made this easy, but you know, Jeff has played this game a bunch. He knows what he's doing. We have watched hundreds of people play through this. I think this is actually the area of the game we built first. So going back,
they kind of respond to where you shoot.
We built this chunks of this area, and it took a lot of iteration to find a space that worked for players of all the varying, diverse range of skill and experience that you might have entering VR for the first time, and so making sure that they could all survive that. We've seen how many, we've seen many playtesters who have got the hang of barnacles or something, and then that first zombie comes at them, and they may not have been an experienced gamer. They may not have made sure they had many shots in their clip. Maybe they had one shot left. They put that shot in. Now they need to reload for the first time. Well, there's a zombie coming at them, and they just go to pieces. One of the fun things about watching VR playtests is when people get into duress and make mistakes, it's almost always way more entertaining than in non-VR. And so you'll watch people fumble and drop clips, and you can see the footsteps of the zombie approaching them as they're bending down trying to grab that clip again.
Whoa, what is that?
So he's kind of looting the room
like
here
a type
in a
of
really opening way. Opening
you put
up
it in there.
All these lockers and now plug in. What is this actually? Because this
Damn
is
fetus.
a reference to Half-Life 2, right? Where you step on the antlion grubs and that gets you health. And now it's sort of been actually like plugged into a health kit now for the Combine.
Yep. Yeah. The Combine use the antlions for a number of things, and you're going to see some more of that later in the product. One of the things we wanted to do, one of the things we observed in a bunch of our early playtests was that people really liked exploring the world and finding things, and so we wanted to give them these sort of mini goals. And so health stations like that one sometimes spawn without anything in them, and you need to, that tells you, oh, somewhere around here I need to find one of these health files. And so
so far the game is looking good. It looks full. It looks like a real game. Like if you were to change the camera angle and the controls, it seemed like it would be no different than any other Half-Life game. I'm hoping that this isn't going to be like a 4-hour game. I'm hoping. Like I don't want it to be some really small thing. That, like I said, that's one of the downfalls of VR right now. All the games are either a collection of mini games, or they're a very short story mode with very limited ability to do something in it. Like you play the game, they only give you, like, you're on rails for the most part. You don't have a lot of control, and they really baby you into the game through tutorials and stuff like that. So hopefully the game is just going to be a game, give us all the ability to do what we want to do, and that's it.
Becomes essentially a mini puzzle in that area, and as you go through the game, those mini puzzles become more complex and more elaborate.
Upgrading the gun.
So this is kind of one of my favorite things so far, which is this is actually an upgrade station, and all those little pellets, right, that he was picking up are essentially upgrade points.
They're resin that you've got to collect, and as you collect more, then you find these Combine upgrade stations, and they're able to modify your weapons, and so they become both a goal for the player. As they go through the game, they might say, I really want to get that upgrade, so I really want to keep an eye for the resin, and also the reward for searching throughout the game.
So he just picked a hollow sight. I'm wondering if we could actually look at some of what the other upgrades for the pistol are. Because they're pretty powerful, it seems.
There's... Do we have
to
look
reservoir.
at
We don't have to. The hollow sight's enough.
That's right. You saw the names. How's that? Do your best guess. One of the things that was really fun, actually, was
explosive barrel in front of them.
Tristan Reedford and some of the other artists who focused on the upgrades of weapons and stuff like that. They have a phrase that I love, and maybe you can get them to talk to you about it more, called mechanical responsibility, which is this idea that they like making sure that the mechanics of things physically make sense. And so for every one of the upgrades, he really thought hard about how all those things actually work, and modeled them very carefully in the weapons and stuff like that. And so
he did not like that bucket.
That was a close one.
It's a little distracted there.
Yeah, you can actually see all the little parts moving on the guns and all the little pieces that have been added. So as you upgrade your gun, you'll actually see the components get physically attached, but also their functionality as you use them.
And the UI is essentially like just your ammo count is those little lines on the side of the gun. Your health is on the back of your left hand.
You can see Jeff here using the reflex sight. Reflex sight, one of its other advantages is it will show you weak points on enemies. Some of these zombies have essentially small alien growths on them that we call bloaters, which act as a weak point for them. If you hit those, they'll detonate, and you can get them with a single kill, and they'll also kill other enemies around them. So it's not always the most efficient thing to just immediately shoot a zombie in the head. If you want to conserve ammo, you want to look at each zombie and see if it has a growth somewhere on it and shoot that. And as you've probably already found out in the sections you've played, we are going to make sure that you care about ammo. All right, ammo and extracting resources efficiently from the game as you move through it is an important part of the whole game.
Cool. Yeah, it's that management, that kind of gauging, okay, how many shots does taking down a zombie take? How many bullets do I have left in my magazine? Because if you eject the magazine early, you essentially lose the ammo that was in it.
Don't need no damn jump scares. Okay.
Talk to me about the design and the layout of this section as well in these levels, because you've done a really interesting thing in this subway system where
it's too dark for me to
you're
see.
going
Can't see
through
anything.
trains and then out of the train to a different train. Like it's very dense. It feels like you're winding in and out a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, we definitely spend a lot of time thinking about how to utilize the space in these environments. And in this case, some of the space that we wanted to come up with was earlier on, like when we saw Jeff moving through the subway train, was how do we keep the zombies, away from you for just a little bit of time to let you get acclimated with the pistol mechanics.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned dense. Dense is a key word for us here. We spend a lot of time thinking about the amount that you need to move before new things happen, before you see something you haven't seen before some threat appears.
That red mean?
There's something you need to search and so on. And we've really tried to make sure that
a bunch
of the area that you're dealing with has that level of density in it, such that you never feel like you're moving very far before something grabs your attention.
So you hear Alyx now.
Needs you to look at or respond to it.
Or search for. There's lots of nooks and crannies to dig around through. There's more ammo and items to find.
Is that also kind of the nature of designing in VR, where you're not jump running through the entire level like you were in Half-Life 2? You have to you move a little more methodically.
I mean, I think this is one of the things that excites us as designers most about VR is not so much that the difference you just described there is a difference in how players behave, not in difference in the ways we want them to behave. When we built these areas initially, one of the things that we first noticed was like, wow, people are taking a lot longer to go through this. They're paying a lot of attention, and not because we're making them, but because they want to. They want to look behind every corner. They want to look under things and behind things, and they want to lift things up and look around. And so a lot of the gameplay elements we've ended up building around like the need to search for resin and the need to make sure you're efficiently extracting ammunition and so on out of the game all came from watching the behaviors that players were exhibiting in VR. And as designers, it's incredibly exciting. It's really fun knowing you can build an area and know that someone is going to really pay attention to it. They're going to look at that, that Zen foliage over there, and they're going to see what's around it and how it might react and all that sort of jazz.
Yeah, these are sites that are.
What the hell is that hissing?
We're getting our first glimpse at a head crab coming up, but these sites of like these little bits of Zen sort of bleeding into the city like that is very it's very grotesque in a way we haven't seen a ton of before, this up close and personal.
Yeah, I mean we're in the period of time in Combine history where the Combine have invaded, but they haven't really gotten control of Earth yet. They're still, right? The portal storms have
not a fan of head crabs in VR.
As a result of Black Mesa. And so you've got both Combine soldiers and, the Combine themselves, I should say, and these sort of Zen life forms coming out of it.
Right.
And you mentioned head crabs, actually, since we're just arriving at the end here, but it's worth noting. Head crabs are a thing that a bunch of people, when they hear we're building Half-Life in VR, their first reaction is, wait, are you crazy? Like, head crabs just like jumping in my face? Who would ever want that? And
I know, right?
The reaction, of course, was like, no, that's why we want to do VR. Like, it sounds amazing. But it was, again, a thing we were very, very careful to build around, right? We make sure you've gotten this sense of competency around dealing with some threats. You've got maybe you've got a weapon upgrade, you're feeling a little relaxed, you've got some comfort before we bring in the head crabs to start dealing with that. Because we have found that a small, fast-moving thing that leaps at people's faces is really not the thing to start your game with. You really want to make sure they're a little more relaxed before you start doing that.
So that's all we've got today. Thank you very much for telling us about this section of the game. For more from Half-Life Alyx, you can come back right here on IGN. We've got our IGN First all month about Half-Life Alyx. We'll be bringing you more gameplay, more interviews, all that sorts of great stuff, so don't go anywhere.
Yeah, looks good. Looks real good. Like I said, if you're big into VR just like I am, then leave a comment down below. Let me know what games you're currently playing. Let me know what your aspirations for what VR should be is. Like what would you consider to be a great VR game? like I said, I'm looking for something that's big, open world, that has RPG elements in it. Skyrim is a good one. If you've played Skyrim VR, let me know in the comment section, because I'm really like thinking about getting into that. And with the modding community, you can add all types of mods to it. Maybe I can finally live out my dream and be Sephiroth or a Jedi or Darth Vader and just like go throughout the countryside just murdering, I mean rescuing all the villagers. But you know, just make sure to autosave, or not autosave, make sure to save before you do anything crazy. And for all those villagers out there, those NPC out there that might be watching this video, if you see somebody saving their game before they enter your town, you might want to go ahead and run. Or hide somewhere in a house, something. But with that being said, I'm Devon DaVinci. Hopefully you've just been a little more enlightened. I look forward to seeing what you guys have to say in the comment section down below. I really want to know what VR people are out there, because I need to talk VR with someone. I don't have anybody near me that plays VR, so you know, just the fact that you can have conversations about VR would be cool. But with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. That's the best way you can support this channel as of right now. And it will go a long way to helping promote my channel. I will have a link for IGN's channel at the end of this video, somewhere around here. The last 30 seconds it'll pop up. So if you want to see more of their videos, click on that and go straight to their channel and watch their stuff. And I look forward to seeing you guys in a future video. I'm going to give you the deuces, and I'm signing out. Deuces.